Well, hello Internet, and welcome to part 12 of my web design and programming tutorial. Today I'm going to show you how to read and write information to files using PHP. And to start off, this is very simple. You need to create what's called a file descriptor. Just think of this as an address for the location of your file. And whenever you create this with the fopen function, you have to, of course, tell it what file that you wish to use, and then you have to define what sort of privileges you want to have when in regards to working with this file. So if you put R in here, that just gives you read privileges for the file. However, there's a bunch of other different things you could put inside of here. But let's say you wanted to have read and write capabilities with this file. You'd type in R plus instead of R, and all of the information that you would write to this file would begin at the very beginning of the file, not at the end of the file. You could also get just writing privileges, again, at the beginning of the file with W. If you type in W plus, what that's going to do is going to delete the contents, the current contents of the file, and give you read and write access to the file at the beginning of the file. Wow, I keep saying that over and over again. Because A will give you write-only privileges that will appear at the end of the file, meaning that anything that you send to the file is going to be appended to the content that's already there. And if you type in A+, that's going to give you read and write access to the file. Okay, so those are all the different codes that are available to you. Then after you get that information from the file, you're going to want to call a while loop, and you're going to want to continue to pull information in as long as the end of the file is not reached, and that's what that code right there will do for you. And again, this is the file descriptor, and you want to put your curly braces in there. Then you're going to use a function called fgets to return all the characters up to either a new line or an end of file. And I'm just going to echo to screen all of this information, put the file we're working with inside of here, and a break. And I'm going to end that and then print out another break after we get all that information out there on the screen. And that's all it takes. And this is the customer file, by the way. If you want to see what it looks like, it's a comma separated value, but it's saved as a text format, but that's all that is there. And if I file save this and jump over here, you can see it jumped in there and it grabbed all that information and printed it out to screen, which is exactly what I wanted it to do. You can also read a file and all of the information contained in the file into an array, and I'll show you how to do that. Let's just delete that, and let's call this customers. And you just call the file function .txt, and you don't need to put anything else in there. And all that information is going to be appended to an array, so we're going to have to call the for each looping tool. Customers as customer. And then what you're going to do is you want to take all of the information that is contained in this customer's text file, being name, street, city, and state, and you're going to save those to individual variables with this list function. So I'm going to call it name, street, city, state. And I'm going to explode that array, stating that everything that is separated with commas should be sent into these variables that I have defined over here. And just like that. Now, state is going to have a new line at the end of it, so I'm going to call the trim function on state to get rid of that new line, because that could be troublesome. And let's say that I want to echo out the screen, name, just like that. And then I'm going to copy this, input street, city, state, and again, right like that. And then I'm going to close off this for each loop. And if I hit file save, jump over here, you can see it took all that information and printed it out to screen with a little bit more information in regards to what's contained there. And if I want to make this a little bit easier to see, so everything's separated, put another break statement in there, file save, and you can see everything's all split up. So it took all the information, stored it in an array, broke it apart, stuck it into individual variables, and then printed everything out. So it's pretty useful. Now let's say that I want to, and I'm actually going to save this guy right here. I'm going to delete this, and I'm going to stick this stuff between a comment block, because I'm going to want to reuse that. Now I'm going to show you now exactly what it looks like if I want to append information to the end of this file. And this will not work unless you have writing access to said file. So if you get an error that you can't write to this file, that is why. You have to have the proper permissions to be able to do that. So that's an error that may come up. Okay, so let's say I want to add a new customer, and let's say his name is Rick, and he lives at 219 Almond Street. Okay. How would I append this information? With the fwrite function and the file descriptor that I want to write to. Boom, just like that. And you should always call fclose on a file when you're done with it, just like I did right there. And now I'm going to show you how you can read that information into a string. Customers is equal to file get contents. This is going to read everything into a string for you. And I'm going to explode this time based off of a new line that is in the string. And then this is the same. You're going to do exactly the same thing in this for each block. That's why I saved it. I go File, Save, jump over here, and you can see that everything printed out here to screen, even the new customer that you added to the file right here. And the other thing you can do with PHP is grab information off the web. So let's say file2 is equal to fopen, and because there's been a lot of attention in regards to this, let's jump over to a working version of WikiLeaks. And no, by the way, I do not have anything to do with WikiLeaks. I'm not affiliated with them. I just helped some people set up some mirror sites, and then I put a bunch of information on my website. And ever since, I've been getting barraged with emails thinking I run a hacker website, which I do not. Just believe in the cause, that's it. Okay, so I'm going to grab this page off the web, and I want to read that information. Obviously, I'm not going to write to it. It's not my website. And I want to read it in text. You could also read it in binary, but not much point in that. And again, I'm going to look for the end of the file, to, and inside of curly brackets, I'm going to append what I got off of there using the fgets file. What this is going to do is it's going to strip out any tags in the HTML file that you pull over. And it's common to say that you want the first 124 characters, so that's what that stands for. Just always type 124. It should always do what you want it to do. Close that file off. And here I'm going to show you how to write all that information you just pulled off that website to another text file. Put the other double quote in there. And I want the ability to write text. Alright, so that's going to pull all that information from this specific website. I'm going to pull it over here and I'm going to save it to this string, and then I'm going to save that to this text file that I have on my site. Okay, so file save, reload it, and it doesn't look like anything happened. But if we click on just the facts, you can see that it grabbed all that information and saved it to the file that I have here, the text file. So there's a whole bunch of different things you can do with File.io with PHP. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. Till next time.